the fact that we really do need to hear back from students as to what their experience is like day to day. Not that we're trying to check up on your instructors or anyone else for that matter, but as we get feedback from you about the quality of your experience, we can help our instructional team adapt. And we did that last week. We got feedback from you that you're having some challenges with regard to some assessment environments. So we provided general feedback to our faculty and some additional instruction on options. And we would like to continue that continuous improvement environment so that we get better at this together. So very much interested in hearing feedback from everyone.
Now, on piggybacking off of that, how or what's the best way to communicate that feedback? How can we, other than this town hall, what are the other avenues that we can, reach out and say, hey, this is something that's going on?
Well, if you want to do it anonymously, always contacting your associate student government representatives like Stephen or uh, Gerardo Reyes, ASG President Reedley, or anyone else on the ASG Senate. They can certainly provide feedback to us, and we'll accept that however you get it to us. You can send us an email. You have my email address. You can certainly send it to me. You can send it to any one of our leadership team, and we'll certainly act on it. Probably the single best thing you can do if you want to keep it at the lowest possible level. Each of our instructors works with a department chair, so actually contacting the department chair and or the dean over that area is probably your best way to get in contact with us directly. But if you feel the need, you can certainly email any of the vice presidents or myself. It's up to you.
Yeah, thank you for that plug to the student government. I just want to say, on behalf of the student government, right now we are accepting applications for next year. So students that are on this line, please, if you feel that you can really be an advocate or a student leader, fill out one of those applications. You know, just asking questions like you are right now in the chat is just one way that you are representing that student voice. I get to sit on committees with administration and be able to say, hey, this is how I feel as a student. And that's a great opportunity. So any of you students that are on the line, please, 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 if you want to be a part of student government, do that. It's in your Canvas right now. At the top of your Canvas, there's a banner that has a application link. Go in there, try and or fill out that application for next year.
So if I could build on Stephen's comments, I think everyone should be aware of the fact that when you're in college or a university, it doesn't matter, any form of higher education, the best thing you can do is find a way to take the learning you get in the classroom and apply it practically. And working in student government, working in a club environment, volunteering in the community, actually taking any kind of an applied learning course like an internship is critically important for you because it allows you to actually take all that theory and put it to practice and understand it that much more deeply. And more importantly, when you do that, you build skills you don't even realize, the communication skills, both verbally, written, your organizational skills, your ability to work in teams. All those things develop so much faster when you basically take the opportunity to serve in an organization like the Associated Student Government. So I strongly support your getting involved at one level or the other. Even volunteering for the college out in the community, all of that is very good work and very essential.
Yes, definitely. So we have another student that's saying their history professor wants to extend the semester. Are they allowed to do that?
I'm going to turn that over to our Vice President of Instruction.
All faculty, all staff have been informed that we are going to stick with our pre-existing calendar, and hopefully your experience this week reflects that. They were encouraged to take a break themselves, but also to give you a break, the badly needed break over spring break. But our plans are to end the semester at the pre-existing time, which is May 22nd would be the final day of the semester. That's the end of finals week, the end of everything. So while they may want to, I think we always feel like, geez, there's so much content I need to get through and I hate to skip any of it. So while they may want to, they've been directed to maintain the academic calendar that we started with at the beginning of the semester.
And we realize it's difficult because we lost an entire week as we went through this transition. But we certainly are encouraging faculty to stick with the program and stay with the calendar that has been published, because that's what you signed up for. That's what you should be allowed to experience.
Awesome. We had a student that just got on, and thanks to our VP of instructions, he's reaching out to her. She's just asking, what's the state of things? So yes, summer is online. That's how we're going. But we talked about this at our last town hall, Dr. Buckley. If we transition and we're doing it online and we find out that, yes, it can become in person, how is that going to affect our instruction? Or how are we make sure that the schedules don't overlap if someone has two classes and they both decide to do it at the same time during the semester?
That's an excellent question as well. And I think I have a better answer for you this week, in the sense that what we've chosen to do with the schedule is actually leave the days and times that the class was originally scheduled for. So although we're going to be moving to online for summer, if we were to swap back, we would basically use the same published days and times. Same thing is true for fall.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, that definitely clears up a lot of the uncertainties there. We're looking like there's no other questions from any of the students. So students, please, again, reach out if there are any other questions. How are you doing, Dr. Buckley? How's your transition to online going for you?
Well, it's been interesting. I think with the as my chancellor said to me in a phone call about an hour ago, we tend to go from maybe a 12-hour day as administrators to a 24-hour day because we're always accessible. So it's interesting. What that does is create stresses that generate other interests. Like, for example, now I am at the 96th level of expertise in electronic solitaire.
Oh, nice. My Sudoku game is really great right now. I've been on that recently too. All right, we got a couple more questions.
Okay.
Registration for fall, when is that going to be available for students?
Yeah, actually, we had briefly talked about this at the last town hall. Just to review, summer and fall registration starts on April 15th.
Awesome. And then, so it starts on April 15th, but for some students, it'll start on April 15th and then going forth after that, right? Because there's different registration dates.
Right. Renee, will you want to jump in on this and help review how registration dates flow?
Yeah, it starts on April 15th, and students are assigned their registration date based on registration priorities. So there are different tiers or groups of students in different bands or groups of timelines. So the best thing to do is to go on to WebAdvisor and check on there, and the registration date will be posted in there in terms of your summer and fall. But both summer and fall will begin registration on April 15th.
Yeah, I'm going to stress again something that we talked about earlier. Every student has a district email address. I know it's sometimes difficult to check more than one email inbox, but when it comes to registration and critical information that comes from Reedley College for students, they've got to get in the habit of checking or forwarding, at the very least, that district level email to their private email. That they've got to check it periodically, especially during this period of time when we're going through our financial aid application process and through registration. This is one of those critical periods of time in the academic year as we get ready for next year.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, definitely. And another reason student government is so important, you do get priority registration. So just throwing that out there also.
Are you a salesman?
Yeah, I am. I'm trying. Come on. If it's face-to-face classes, is there a possibility the dorms can be open to support those students?
In the summer.
I mean, I'm guessing no, because we're doing definitely 100% summer online, right? So
That's
I'm
correct.
guessing this is more of a fall question.
So
if we end up transitioning back to face-to-face, will we be able to open those dorms back up?
actually, this is a kind of a review question from last week again. We are going to be accepting applications for the dorm starting in May. And Renee, you can remind me the exact date, but I know it's maybe middle of May.
It's somewhere around there. I'd have to go on the website, but yeah,
Yeah.
sometime in May.
So we are basically following our normal procedure for applications for the dorms, and we are planning to have, resident students on campus this coming year. And assuming we get the all clear, they will be in the dorms day one, and we'll have meal service and the whole 9 yards, as we've had actually through the spring semester. We're down to only 12 students in the dorms right now through a voluntary transition back to their homes, but we're still feeding everybody. They get good meals every day from our food service folks here on campus.
It is May 1st.
Very good.
Housing
Thank you.
contracts open in May 1st.
Appreciate that.
Sorry,
Stephen,
I was
are you still
muted.
there?
I was muted. So we had someone else join in a little bit late, and there was, they were asking, hey, I don't know if you went over this topic, but graduation, where are we at right now
Yeah.
for graduation?
Okay, for the latecomers, I'll go through it one more time. I had that in my opening remarks, but just to review, we had sent out a survey as promised, and we only had about 25% of folks responding to date as of today. Survey is still open for a couple of more days. So what we did was survey all the students that had already applied for graduation this spring, as well as faculty that were going to participate, to get feedback on what their preferences were. 80% of the folks that responded basically are requesting that we basically push back the face-to-face graduation until it's safe to actually invite family and friends on campus and to have that joint celebration. At the same time, we know there are also a few graduates that are going to be leaving the area. And so we're taking a look at options, whether or not we want to do still some form of virtual ceremony for those that can't be with us later in the year, or whether or not we want to basically offer it on a Saturday and invite everybody to come back. And the point being, we have a commencement committee that's been meeting on this subject all year. They're going to be meeting this coming Monday to take a look at the survey results, and they'll take into account that feedback and have a very thorough discussion of what our options are, and they'll come back with some recommendations to me.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we actually have a meeting on Monday to discuss some of the further timeline.
Yeah.
What about the student store for summer and fall? I know Vice President of Instruction just said books and materials can still be ordered online. Is it still going to be opened also, or is it just all online orders?
What we're doing right now during the COVID crisis is you can actually do business at the window. You can't go in the store, but if you want to basically either return a book or pick up your summer books, you need to contact them and make arrangements. We prefer you do most of the business online, but if indeed you have to be there in person, there is a way for you to contact Roy in the bookstore, who's the manager there. He's the sole employee right now, thanks to the way things have basically gone in terms of business and whatnot. But Roy can be contacted by phone or by email, and he can basically make arrangements to provide service through the window if you need face-to-face service.
Thank you, Dr. Buckley. That concludes all the questions in the group chat. Are we looking forward to another one of these town halls? Is this a weekly occurrence that we can expect, or what's the future look like?
Yeah, I'm, as I said last week, happy to do these as often as we need to until we basically don't have any more questions or a need to meet. So I'd certainly like to meet again next week. We chose 6 p.m. this time to try and, again, try a different group of students that might not have been available earlier in the day. We kind of need feedback as to what day and time might be best as we come off spring break and go back into classes next week. So if those of you that are listening and reach out to your friends, find out what the preference, we'll basically schedule accordingly.
Awesome. How about high school students that are planning to transfer for fall? When can they start registering? Is the high school going to help them register? Can they start meeting with the counselor already? How is that looking?
Renee, you want to take this one, or is Natalie online?
I think Natalie's online. Natalie, you want to take a stab at that?
Sure, I'm here. So yeah, we're right in the middle of our registration to go time period where we really spend a lot of time with our high schools, and it's a little bit more difficult for us because we really enjoy being out there and meeting folks face to face. So right now, our college relation team is working very closely to make sure that we are coordinating with high schools. So the 3 high schools that we hadn't actually visited face to face for advising, that we got out there to them virtually. So we're doing some online sessions with them, but their registration is right on track, just like everybody else, to be ready for fall. So I just encourage you to reach out to us. And if there are students that need some additional help coming from the high schools, we're working through the matriculation process with the online orientation. We're heading into registration period. I know that our high school friends register a little bit later, so their dates won't be right at the very beginning, but we want to make sure that folks are getting services. And I'll put my email address in the chat. So if you guys have specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome.
Again, Natalie's our dean over enrollment services, and in particular our dual enrollment program as well. So wanted to shout out to Natalie and her entire team. They do an awful lot of work this time of year to keep everybody moving forward in the queue, so to speak. So thank you.
Another question for Natalie then. When Natalie said, you can reach out to us, who was us, and what's the best way to contact the us? And then also, what if this student is a homeschooler? They're not in the high school system. Maybe they're, independent studies, something like that. How can they go about, because they don't have a counselor on their campus? What's their course of action?
Definitely. I'll put the contact information in the chat so they can reach out to them. I'll include my personal information as well, but I'll include the link to get folks with our counselors to make sure they can be addressed. And typically we end up working through with the homeschools. They do have sites that they're attached to. So typically we try and capture them that way, but we want to make sure that we're able to get them. So I'll put that information in the chat so folks can grab it.
Thank you so much. We had some clarifications in the chat. The bookstore window is open from 10 to 2 every day. So if you did need to return any items, 10 to 2. The DSPNS office will be open when the campus opens. So if you have any needs, please contact your counselor or contact Dr. Morgan. Again, we don't know if fall classes are going to be online yet. We're just going along with the flow of how the pandemic is or what the situation is. And then we have the DSPNS contact information is in the chat. Also, Natalie's contact information is in the chat if you need it. Are there any other questions from any of the students on the line? As always, Dr. Buckley, we really appreciate you doing this, being accessible to the students. I know in some universities and in some colleges, that's just unheard of, for a president to be able to reach out and, individually meet with these students. Did we find out about a drop-off location for borrowed computers?
And I was returning them?
Yes.
I don't have one yet, but what we can do is post something to the COVID-19 webpage if there's equipment to be returned. Dan Demers is our director of IT and campus technology. I'll make sure that we get something back on the website so that we can accommodate those student returns.
Awesome. And our next town hall will be live on YouTube. So be definitely looking out for that link. This one's actually going live on YouTube also. So look out for that. And I know we're recording these and putting them into a database so that students can look back on these also. What about drop-offs for borrowed calculators through specific programs like the student support services?
I'm assuming we could probably set up one drop-off for all technology, and we'll try to have a discussion about that tomorrow morning and come up with a simple solution for you. It may be as simple as something as a secure box or something like that in a parking lot where you can drop things and be signed off.
Have we gotten any clarification on whether the tech, if they're coming back for the next semester, say they're coming back for summer or for fall, are they going to be able to hold on to that tech?
My assumption is yes, but again, let me talk to our IT people and to the rest of our leadership team and verify that. By next week, I'll have that confirmed.
Awesome. So we can look forward to another one coming up, hopefully pretty soon. And like I said earlier, it will be live on YouTube. You guys can all check it out there. I'm not seeing anything else. There's the contact info in the Zoom chat for college relations for first-time students for the DSPNS office for admissions and outreach. So please go copy that down for your records. But as always, Dr. Buckley, like I was saying earlier, thank you so much for putting this together and keeping the students informed. We definitely
Happy to do
appreciate
so.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to say that I'm so impressed with higher education here in the Central Valley. I take my lead from Dr. Castro at Fresno State and also Dr. Jones over at Fresno Pacific, two gentlemen that truly have their communities at heart. I think we're all here to basically do the same thing, which is provide educational opportunity for our students and our residents of our communities. And I am just impressed with the level of partnership that I have with those institutions and others here in the Valley. We work well as a team, and we try to adapt and provide what we can when these sorts of things come up. And I would just close by saying, this has been an educational opportunity, whether you think of it or not. As I said early on, no one ever expected we'd be doing something like this. We'd have this kind of experience, but we're all learning from it. It's also going to change the face of higher education, and for that matter, the way business is conducted, both here and around the world. So don't look at this as being a one-time thing that you're just putting up with. This is literally training all of us with new skills and new opportunities to interact differently from this point forward in time. Don't look backward, look forward. Thank you. Have a good
Yes,
evening.
definitely. Hey, real quick, Dr. B, we just
Yeah.
got another question. Just, are classes resuming on Monday or Tuesday? Is Monday a holiday?
No, Monday's
No.
a school day.
Okay,
Nice
so
try.
Monday is a school day. Yeah, they wanted to know. And the SSS program technology can be dropped off with the RC Campus Technology Department. So they'll be reaching out to SSS students to communicate that. All the students in the chat are saying thank you. They really appreciate it. Students also, like I said earlier, if you want to make your college experience better for yourself and for others, join student government, help out. The link is in your Canvas. And Dr. B, thank you so much again. We definitely appreciate it.
Stephen, thank you for moderating. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Have a good
Anytime.
evening.
Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.